Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Lembaga Tan Sri KSN Al-Hajj Datuk Sri Abdul Rashid Al-Hajj bawa balik Mekah. Mabrur insyaAllah wa sa'i mashkuran wa tijaratan lan tabur wa amalan salihan. Johan, Azman, rakan-rakan saya muliakan, saya ucap terima kasih kepada Gubernur Dr. Rashid atas ikhtiar ini meneruskan wacana segar, memberi kefahaman tentang apa makna reform struktural yang sangat diperlukan dalam keadaan ekonomi yang tidak menentu, tetapi memerlukan tekad politik dan dasar yang jelas untuk pertama, menjamin pertumbuhan yang segar, dan kedua, kerangka madani itu dilaksanakan secara berkesan. Dan terima kasih sekali keluarga Bank Negara Malaysia kerana beberapa inisiatif itu memberi suatu gambaran bahawa Bank Negara Malaysia bukan sahaja menjadi satu bank negara dan pusat yang hanya menentukan suatu dasar fiskal dan kewangan terutamanya, tetapi juga memikirkan soal kesenjangan, soal masyarakat, beberapa ikhtiar sosial, peningkatan golongan asnaf, kemiskinan tegar. Dan ini akan memberikan makna dan pengertian relevance atau kaitan apa erti pembangunan. Bila kita sebut tentang reform struktural, ini memberi gambaran bahawa perubahan kecil, anjakan paradigma biasa itu tidak akan cukup. Kita lihat umpamanya mengapa kita mengasap perubahan struktural dari segi umpamanya penyasaran subsidi. Kerana penyasaran subsidi ini tidak salah bagi yang miskin, bagi yang melarat. Tapi subsidi bagi golongan kaya, subsidi bagi orang asing yang tidak membayar cukai, tentunya akan membebankan mana-mana negara. Tetapi apa juga langkah fiskal dan perubahan, termasuk langkah-langkah yang kita perkenalkan, tidak semestinya popular. Sebab itu peranan Bank Negara dan juga rakan-rakan dalam institusi kewangan perlu bukan saja mendukung perubahan, mendukung anjakan paradigma dan perubahan struktural, tetapi memberi kefahaman kepada masyarakat. So, now that we are in the face of global headwinds, we cannot afford, therefore, to wait for calmer seas. We must learn to sail better. That's precisely the reason why we are doing this program and this initiative together, because it's an attempt to bring the great minds, the intellectuals, the great minds of government, industry, and the academia to chart a course forward towards structural reforms for resilient Malaysia. The theme of this year's Sasana Symposium. Therefore, as I've said in Bahasa, I must express my profound gratitude and thanks and appreciation for the Governor and the Bank Negara family for nurturing this tradition of thoughtful discourse, or normally I would say reasoned discourse, now in its third year, but also for undertaking some measures which is not necessarily forte for central banks. So banks talk money matters. But here, there's also care and concern, social programs, uplifting the poor, talking about inequality, and building national resilience. And I think I'm very fortunate, therefore, to have the governor and the team working in this direction. I trust, therefore, that the ideas exchanged over these 2 days, inshallah, will not remain abstract, but will translate into policies grounded in lived policies, to policies grounded in lived realities and driven by clear purpose. Now, as I have often said, reform is not a luxury. It is a national necessity and it's damn unpopular. Now, but I do think we have a choice. But the problem lies when, on one side there's this impatient demand to undertake massive reforms, and on the other side, those ultra or neoconservatives or desperate politicians would apportion the entire blame and would go against any attempt to undertake reform. The leadership must be, therefore, wise in navigating this change. There's no turning back. Structural reform is a necessity to save the economy of the nation. Structural reform is not about headline-grabbing pronouncements. It is about unlocking our growth potential, promoting broad-based prosperity, and steadily building buffers so that you can weather storms. And I would add, through this governance exercise, to avoid leakages, endemic corruption, and wastage. So around the world, we are observing a troubling trend. Slower growth, driven by a mix of geopolitical and policy uncertainty. A small and open economy like Malaysia is not exempt from this swirl of uncertainty. In line with our vision to be high-income economy, we must be adaptive in our policies, have strong institutions, and above all, clear-sighted about our chosen direction. The Madani economic framework reflects this vision and articulates a dual commitment. First, industrial policies should be modernized, focused on sectoral competitiveness, digital transformation, green growth, and value chain upgrading. Second, the benefits of economic expansion should be broad-based, particularly for vulnerable and underserved segments of our society. Now, the Madani reform agenda adopts a whole-of-nation approach as we prioritize 5 critical areas: fiscal sustainability and governance. And mind you, from my limited experience now to Navis, that's the most challenging. To depart from the usual exercise in negotiations to award contracts to a transparent tender exercise. To ensure that institutions, including the Anti-Corruption Commission and the rest, have to be bold enough and the courage to take measures, however unpopular, to stem this endemic corruption in this country. Then we talk about medium-term fiscal consolidation. Then the second issue, of course, subsidy rationalization. It sounds attractive. Even the English is about, what I would say, elegant. Subsidy rationalization. Oh my God. But it has to be done. The media has been daily asking about RON 95. And the opposition is saying, look, with all this talk about the success of Benegara and Khazana and billions brought in, the country is extremely poor. They are oppressing the people. That is the narrative that you find in the social media. And many of the corporate players are completely oblivious to what's happening in Birmingham. And that's our challenge. Now, it has to be done, but it has to be explained, well articulated, get the people to understand and appreciate. And that is why I think this sort of reasoned exchanges and discourse is vital to ensure not only the program is considered to be effective or sound policies, but effectively implemented and understood by the majority of our people. So, again, back to subsidy rationalization. Targeted, not blanket, ensuring the assistance reaches those truly in need. Third is tax reform. I said, there's a dilemma. You remember, to paraphrase Hamlet, to tax or not to tax. Now, you have to expand the revenue base. We want to ensure quality education, better health reform and services. Now to grapple with the new challenges, new technology, digitalization, all would demand funds, disbursement of more funds. But nobody wants to pay, including the very rich. So that is our challenge, therefore. Tax reform is a necessity to expand the revenue base, improve enforcement, and of course, addressing leakages without burdening the poor. Then, next will be human capital upliftment. All agencies, government, GLICs, the private sector, have to undertake this measure, because whilst we pride ourselves in being able to attract foreign direct investments, new technology, AI, from Infineon to NVIDIA to Google to AMD, but then we need to therefore uplift our human capital and talent through, of course, TVET, digital upskilling, including labor market reforms. The next will be institutional integrity. Again, another major challenge, where transparency, anti-corruption enforcement, and accountability are embedded across ministries, agencies, GLICs, and the private sector. So, ladies and gentlemen, amid rising global headwinds and the imposition of unilateral tariffs, I just wish good luck to Zafrul, who's now in Washington, D.C. Malaysia's economy remains fundamentally sound. I'm just quoting the governor. Now, as chair of ASEAN this year, Malaysia has reaffirmed the need to pursue deeper economic integration, anchored in inclusive, resilient, and sustainable growth. I mean, that's where resilience is all about. Domestic resilience, regional resilience. There's so much capacity even within ASEAN. The resilience that we have to build to strengthen our trade, our investments, intra-ASEAN trade investments, then work with others. So we continue to depend on the United States for investments and trade. We enhance our relations with China and countries in this region. And EU, fortunately, has been more positive now, easier to negotiate with them. Thank you, ambassadors. Please convey my regards to your chiefs. And now we are working very closely to ensure that this EU FTA with Malaysia and with ASEAN succeed. Because then everybody realize that the dependence and to just wait and be obsessed with the issue of tariff will not help. So we take other measures to ensure there is resilience domestically, regionally, and between countries and among regions. So in an increasingly volatile global landscape, ASEAN's centrality and regional economic bonds, we have been, should I say, committed to build, as we have done so for decades, to offer a steady compass and a strategic counterbalance to external uncertainties. We are charting, Malaysia precisely, a bold course in digital transformation, guided by national strategies such as the Digital Economy Blueprint, the Financial Sector Blueprint, and the Capital Market Master Plan. Now together, these frameworks lay the foundation for an agile, resilient, and future-ready economy. Few may realize that Malaysia was among the early movers in the digital asset space, having begun exploring central bank digital currencies as early as 2017. Now, these efforts gained momentum with the establishment of a formal regulatory framework in 2019, providing much needed clarity and confidence in the trading of and investment into crypto assets. Now, I have to deal with the Securities Commission and Bank Negara. They are bastion of conservatism, as you know, but I'm not joking. But they are supposed to do that. So we have to really engage and negotiate to make sure that they retain that anchor, at the same time accept the new risks. So good luck to Johan. Now, and today we mark yet another beginning of a new chapter. One that calls for deeper collaboration between regulators and industry players. It is in this spirit that I'm proud to launch the Digital Asset Innovation Hub, a testament to Malaysia's commitment to ensure policy evolves alongside innovation. It takes a lot of argument and the art of persuasion with the governor and the Securities Commission chief. No, I'm joking. Partly serious. Now, the hub will serve as a catalyst for progress, enabling innovators to test use cases such as programmable payments, ringgit-backed stable coins, and supply chain financing, unlocking new efficiencies across the financial system and the broader economy. So our ambition is clear: to align infrastructure, policy and talent across both the public and private sectors in pursuit of a digitally capable, future-ready Malaysia. This national vision is clearly closely tied to our regional commitments. Because as ASEAN deepens cooperation in digital connectivity, which happens to be the thrust of our ASEAN program, the ASEAN Power Grid and the digital connectivity, energy transition, macroeconomic stability, the Malaysia therefore has to continue to play a proactive role in shaping a connected, inclusive, and sustainable future for our region. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at the heart of these efforts is a deeper purpose. We're not just or merely adopting technology for its own sake, but building systems rooted in trust, driven by transparency, and designed to serve both our national and regional interests. Yet, as we embrace reform and resilience, we must not lose sight of immediate challenges that touch the lives of ordinary Malaysians. None more pressing than the rising cost of healthcare. We have this critical panel discussion the Treasury, Central Bank, Ministry of Health, better come up with something reasonable. Otherwise, yeah. It's a problem. It's a problem we have to address. It's a serious problem. I mean, I think the session tomorrow should be, I mean, given some focus, and I believe our friends in the media should also help in this, because people have to understand there's rising costs, but you have to deal with it. Some immediate measures have been undertaken. I was a bit tough with the Ministry of Health. I said, look, procurement of medicine, I mean, use generic, and of course the cheapest possible. Not tied to the traditional source, which can be extremely exorbitant in terms of price. I used to joke, even the Americans, the medicine given to the Prime Minister, they choose the best. I said, no, necessary. I would be happy to receive any generic one, not necessarily imported from the most expensive companies. And that is what I have requested. I have not been successful. They still give me the best. That's why everybody wants to become a Prime Minister. Now, for many Malaysians, private healthcare is becoming increasingly inaccessible due to escalating medical cost inflation. This is not simply an economic concern. It is a matter of national well-being. Now, in recognition of this, I am pleased to announce the establishment of a joint ministerial committee. This typical Parkinson's law. You have a problem, you set up a committee. Not successful, ministerial committee. Again, not too successful, a super coordinating committee, chaired by the minister. And again, not too convincing, have a committee headed by the Prime Minister. And then we all fail, then we change to a new government. And they start all over again. Please don't quote me this, I'm just... but this means, normally you don't joke at the central bank programs, you know. They're supposed to be very serious and, you know, okay. So, we do apologies, Governor. This ministerial committee will comprise the Ministry of Finance, Health, and of course Central Bank, to ensure that quality healthcare is both affordable and accessible for all Malaysians. We are not talking about minor adjustments or minor paradigm shift. We must be prepared to undertake a fundamental shift towards a value-based private healthcare system that prioritizes outcomes, transparency, and fairness. Key reforms include clearer pricing, stronger digital healthcare, and expanded access through affordable options such as universal-based medical insurance product. I gave an example. I was in the GH. I was at GH quite a number of times, particularly when I was Sungai Buloh. I prefer to stay in GH than the hospital, the prison. So every single little excuse, I said headache or earache or nose or whatever, you know? And the specialist doctors were very kind to me. They always say, yeah, he has an eye problem. Then I come again next month. Yes, he has some hearing problem. Then they find some excuses. People have been kind. That's why I survived. Now, so our aim, again, is to make healthcare a pillar of national resilience. But as I said, my experience, and there was a surgery done, that was serious. And then they were put in bed. And I asked, the cost of the particular bed imported was about 300 over 1,000. Because it's very sophisticated. So I asked the nurses, have you used it? No, we used it. We used it in the usual, you know, movements. Then why do you need this if you don't know? You see? This has to stop. We don't need to have the best, except probably the best MRI, yes. but not the best beds. Even the governor can use a normal bed. Okay. So, national relations is one, but must be guided by compassion, sound policy, and the needs of the Rakyat. And inshallah, I would personally see this reform through. Now, before I conclude, let me reaffirm that the Madani government remains resolute in delivering deep and meaningful structural reforms. Like seasoned navigators, we must and will stay the course, especially when the waters are uncharted and the conditions uncertain. Even small shifts in direction, when taken with consistency and purpose, can alter the course of a nation, shaping a future where the economy serves not the few, but uplifts the many. With that, dengan lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby officiate Sasana Symposium 2025 and launch the Digital Asset Innovation Hub. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.